Well, hello everybody. Greetings once again. This is Danny on behalf of all the elders at the Pilgrim Church of Christ with our daily online spiritual encouragement video or dose. This will be for Wednesday, May the 25th, 2022. At the Pilgrim Church of Christ, one of our adult Sunday school classes is just about to conclude this quarter's study of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. And I've actually based each week's lesson on the material that I use for the recent series of video lessons that I presented on this venue. Several times during his sermon, recorded in the Gospel of Matthew, chapters 5 through 7, Jesus spoke to his audience about choices that will be faced by those claiming to be his disciples. Here are just a few examples. 1. He spoke about acts of righteousness that were prevalent at the time, giving to those who are in need, praying, and fasting. With each one of these, he warned that the disciple had a choice as to why and how it would be performed, either publicly before others for the purpose of drawing their attention to one's perceived pious character, or privately between only the disciple and God, for the purpose of strengthening one's personal relationship with him. He likewise spoke about a disciple's normal daily activities, which would call for choices to be made between the treasure one would seek to amass and store, either in heaven or on earth. He talked about the eye or vision one would develop, which would be manifested by the spirit that one displays toward his or her fellow man, which would be either a generous spirit emanating from a pure heart that leads them to share their material possessions, or a stingy spirit emanating from a selfish heart that leads them to withhold material goods from those in need. He talked about the master to whom one would choose to devote his or her life, either God or wealth. And then he closed out his sermon with a final list of 4 events in life calling for a choice to be made between 2 options, God's way or the world's way. He talked about 2 ways to walk, the broad way that leads to destruction or the narrow way that leads to life. He talked about 2 types of teachers, false teachers and true teachers. He talked about 2 kinds of followers of God's teachings, either those who were sayers only or those who were actually doers. And then he talked about 2 forms of foundations upon which to build our spiritual lives, one being represented by sand, one being represented by rock. You know, we're in the season of year in which multitudes of young people are reaching an important milestone, the completion of years of educational training and learning. These accomplishments are marked with formal graduation ceremonies, observed in middle school, in high school, in college, even in trade schools. Now, for those graduating from high school or college in particular, this event introduces into their lives the recognition that they will soon need to start taking full responsibility for whatever decisions they will be making between the choices they will soon face in their young lives. They'll face choices such as whether to stay close at home or to start a new life chapter elsewhere. Choice between whether to continue in an education or to enter into the job market. A choice of if and when to start raising a family. You know, many have been blessed during their formative years to have had modeled before them by their parents, by their grandparents, by mentors, by school and scout and church leaders, among others. The proper approach to making decisions, making the proper choice when these decisions are faced. I pray that the legacy of those examples will lead these young men and young women to assume the same approach to making the decision about the choices they will face in just a very short time. You know, beyond Jesus' multiple warnings during his Sermon on the Mount, we can find elsewhere in God's Word an echoing of these same warnings. The importance of making the correct choice and the lasting effects to be encountered once they have been made can be summed up very easily with the words of the Apostle John. Listen to his words written toward the end of his long life in service to God, as he encourages us to make the proper choices when we see them as coming from one of 2 environments. This is taken from 1 John chapter 2, verses 15 through 17, and I have chosen to read from the New Living Translation. Here are John's words. Do not love this world, nor the things it offers you. For when you love the world, you do not have the love of the Father in you. For the world offers only a craving for physical pleasure, a craving for everything we see, and pride in our achievements and possessions. These are not from the Father, but are from this world. And this world is fading away, along with everything that people crave. But anyone who does what pleases God will live forever. Now, in closing, I want to present the following quote, one form of which I have found attributed to Gandhi, where he said, "Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny." One might even create a mnemonic acronym by which to remember the traits which we are called as Christians to emulate. WATCH, watch, where W equals our words, A equals our actions, T equals our thoughts, C equals our character, and H equals our habits. We should watch our words, watch our actions, watch our thoughts, watch our character, and watch our habits. I hope you have found today's little study to be interesting and helpful. Remember that there is an ever-growing archive of worship and study videos that are produced by the Church of Christ at Pilgrim, and they're always available for you to access for your viewing and listening at your own convenience. Just check out one of the following sites. There's the Pilgrim Church of Christ page in Facebook. There is the Pilgrim Church Media page in YouTube. And there is our Pilgrim Church of Christ app available for your smartphone. I pray that you and your family are all healthy and doing well. I encourage you to set aside a portion of each day for reading God's Word, letting Him speak to you, and for praying, letting your needs and thankfulness be known to Him. The elders at the Church of Christ at Pilgrim stand ever ready to assist anyone who might have spiritual needs you feel we can help you address. Feel free to contact us at any time for Bible study, for prayer, or just to spend some time talking together. So, until our next study, take care and remember that I love you all. Goodbye.